Hello, I'm Reginald Bullock, and today I'm going to cook chicken and waffles. I have a friend, Craig, he's coming by. Actually, he's more than a friend. I was his mentor during a botillion when he was in high school. Now he's in college, he's gonna come over and we're gonna do some mentorship and talk a little bit. He wanted to take me to breakfast. I said, hey man, you like chicken and waffles? He said, sure. I said, why don't you come over and we'll have some chicken and waffles. So, might as well show you how I do chicken and waffles. Putting the charcoal into the grill any old kind of way just doesn't do. I have a tendency to put some on this side, and that way all of the food goes into the middle and it's not burning it. When I'm ready to sear meat or, really give it that serious burnt flavor, then I can always move it to the side. But this gives me options in cooking. So this is the beginning of it. One very important criteria, if not the most important criteria, is to clean your chicken. So you want to check everything. You don't know where your chicken has been, how it was handled, who handled it. So you want to just kind of check it all out. Look at it for any discoloration. Maybe it got bruised. Look at it for any feathers still around. And you want to do that for every piece of chicken. Now, just a tip, when you're doing chicken wings and legs and everything else, it's the same thing. I kind of have a tendency to pull some of this fat off. I don't pull all of the fat off, but I pull a lot of fat off. I like my chicken to be a little bit leaner than it would normally be if it were having a lot of fat on it. So if it's too much fat, I'll take it off. Like some of this here, I'm just gonna take it off because I'm not gonna eat all of that fat. Now that's just personal preference. Some people prefer to have that fat on there. I'm trying to maintain my weight and shape and fitness. So I have a tendency to take some of that fat off, but that's the process. You just kind of put it in the water, clean it, and you feel it. And you'll feel whether there are feathers on there or not. And if they're not, then you're good. If there are, then you just pull them off. So again, the most important thing is to clean your chicken. Now, another thing that you need to keep in mind is chickens can carry parasites and other things with it that you don't know about. So when you are using chicken, working with chicken, clean your hands, clean the sink, clean everything it touches. There's a good chance you don't have to worry about it, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And see, what I'm doing now is rinsing it one more time before I season it. I'm about to season this chicken just right. Now, to me, the seasoning is most important. There's nothing like eating chicken that has no real flavor to it. So, I'm gonna put some flavor to it. Now, what do? For those of you who know me, you know I am going to, first, I'll show you. My favorite is seasonal. So here we go. I'll take my seasonal, and it's gonna look like I'm seasoning this thing a lot, and I am. When you're grilling, this is gonna go on the grill. When you're grilling, you wanna over season anything that you're grilling, because once it starts to grill, a lot of that is gonna fall off in the juices. And when it falls off into the juices, it's not going to be as much seasoning on there as you thought. So you over season it. I don't call it over seasoning. I'm just doing that for the camera. This is the way I normally season it. So that looks like this, right? But then what I'm going to do, I get in there and you mix it up. And as you're mixing it up, you look at the color, you look at the seasoning, and you see that it's not as much as you thought. At least I see it's not as much as I thought. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna season it again. because I know from experience that a lot of that is going to come off. So I'm using coarse pepper, garlic, season all. These are chicken thighs. I like chicken thighs for chicken and waffles because they're just meaty and they're nice to cut and they're juicy. Sometimes I use the whole thigh and leg together, bone in, of course, and it's just a big piece next to the waffle, and it looks good. Now that looks real good, and it looks seasoned well. So the next step is to put them on the grill. As you can see, the charcoal is nice and hot. Don't make the mistake and light your charcoal, and 5 minutes later put meat on there, because your meat's gonna taste like oil. It's gonna taste like lighter fluid, if you use lighter fluid. So I have a tendency to put the skin down first. That'll ensure that it's kind of where I want it to be in the crispness of it. So skin down first. And also make sure I move that skin so that it's just like that when I'm putting it down. And as you can see, I'm not putting it directly on the heat because I want this chicken to cook nice and slow, but I want it to be hot. You got to cook chicken through and through. It's not like red meat where I want my red meat medium rare, sometimes rare. Chicken, I want my chicken well done. I don't want to see no blood. So I'll leave that on there for about 15 minutes or so. And then I will flip the chicken right there where it is. And then I'll study it to see how it's doing, whether there's any blood coming out, if it's red, if it's cooking at a good pace, a good speed, good temperature. And I may move it directly over to the coals at the last minute just to give it that nice crispy skin. So we'll see how that works. So while the chicken is grilling, we can always prepare the waffle mix. Now, I have a tendency to use this right here. I can't pronounce it that well. I call it Belgian waffle mix, but it's Crustez, and it comes from Belgium. And it's pretty simple. You just put egg, oil, and water in there. And when you do that, you have the mix. So again, I tend not to measure everything too much, because sometimes when you measure based on the directions, I hate to say it, but the directions are wrong. And your food doesn't come out the way you thought it was gonna come out because the directions didn't quite take into account everything. Like if you're in Colorado and you're a mile high, then the directions don't take that into account. So you have to take it into account. When you are in colder regions, you have to take all of that into account. So I take all of that into account and feel my way through it. And once you start feeling your way through it, and you've done it for a while, then you know what it's supposed to feel like. See, a lot of people cook by taste. I do, but I don't just cook by taste. I cook by sight, I cook by feel, I cook by smell. You know, you have to use your senses. Like right now, this bowl feels like it's doing what it's supposed to do. However, it also looks like there's not enough volume in there for how many waffles I want to cook. So therefore, I want to increase the volume and make sure I have enough to make at least 3 to 4 solid waffles. And then what I do is I let the batter sit for a while, because that takes all of the air out. And now it'll be nice and firm when it goes into the waffle iron. So this is how you make the batter. Pretty simple. Just like making pancake batter. Not quite like making cake batter, but similar. And as you see, I cheated. I did not make this waffle mix from scratch. Why? I'm just cooking chicken and waffles for breakfast. I just want to make breakfast. I don't want to sit here and do a whole production. So that's why I do it. All right, let's check it out. It's been on here for about 20 minutes. So now I'm about to flip this on this side. And as you can see, it's cooking pretty good. That's a little bit of blood coming out. You want that? You want that blood to come out. Now when I see this getting dark like this, I know this side is hotter. So to keep everything even, what I may do, since this side seems to be hotter, these light color ones, I'll put them closer. The darker ones, I'll put them further away. I'll bring the lighter ones closer, the darker ones further away. And that way I know I'm cooking evenly. And then I'll kind of put them the way they need to be and leave these here for another 20 minutes. We are about to see the finished product. Oh, you hear that sizzle. As you can see, it's a perfect color. And some of them are percolating. That's what you want, the percolator going on. You see I moved them over. So when I flip them over, oh yeah, they nice and brown like that. Look at that. See, that's what you want. You want that char. You want a little bit of that crispness in there. Crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside. And that's how you grill thighs. Oh, it smells so good. If only you could smell it from the camera, you'd be salivating right now. Look at that. That's how you do it. Now it's time to load it up. There is no rhyme or reason to loading up a waffle iron other than making sure it's hot. As you can see, I have a tray under here, so I don't even care if it spills out. As long as it tastes good, then I'm all right with it. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see how this thing looks. All right, perfect color. I like that. This is really nice. Now, I use these little spatula tongs for the camera. But you know what, really? I put my hands on it. That way I can just get right with it. There it is. A perfect Belgian waffle. Actually, this is a United States waffle because I made it right here.